Okay, I see 7 o'clock on my screen. I'd like to call this meeting to order for January 19th, 2022, West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors. I want to remind everybody that this meeting is recorded and posted on the township website. You can submit public comment by email to glippincott@westrockhilltownship.org. We will take public comment until the end of the meeting, and then we'll read public comment prior to the vote at the end of the meeting, depending on what is appropriate. I'd like to start out by reminding everyone that we will be honoring the policy for public meetings in the township, and to silence your cell phones if you have any on right now, please. The announcements, public comment on the agenda items. If anybody has any, would they please state their name and address now? Okay, seeing none. Announcements.
Jim Miller,
I'm sorry, I raised my hand.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
That's okay. This is Jim Miller, Thousand Acre Road. Mr. Chairman, I would like to reserve my option to speak after the items for the Historical Society cabinet and also the Holiday House pool, if I feel fit, before there's any votes on those items.
Well, that would be under public comment, not?
No, after I'm reserving my right to speak after you've made a motion and seconded it.
Okay.
On each of those items.
Greg?
That's appropriate.
Yep.
Usually it's only when you take action. Whenever you take action, you can.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, if we take action.
Yeah,
yes.
That's
okay.
What I'm asking.
Yep, you're
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you.
Jay, I don't know if you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, I'm going to right now. Okay. I will lead everyone in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, as far as the announcements go, I would like to announce that we are going to have an executive session for legal and real estate after tonight's meeting. And the second announcement I have is I would like to welcome Mr. Hal Shermer as the newest member of the Board of Supervisors. Welcome aboard, Hal.
Thank you.
Okay. First thing, or number 3 on the agenda is the consent agenda. I would ask either supervisor if you've had a chance to look at the consent agenda, and if there's any changes or additions, would you please state so? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as it's presented.
And I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, would you like to read the Treasury report of payment of bills?
Sure, I'll read the Treasurer's report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The general fund, $752,896.94. Highway aid, $91,770.66. The open space fund, $1,112,490.43. The park fund, $31,925.83. The equipment fund, $1,262.25. Highway capital, $129.87. Street light, $34,835.53. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $427,571.18. The American Rescue Plan Fund, $273,574.51. Open Space Manderfield, $51,377.48. The Sewage Maintenance Fund, $184,340.17. The Stormwater Fund, $7,835.75. And the escrow funds, $2,383,189.66.
Thank you, Mr. Lippincott. Moving forward, confirmed appointments, we have none. Next on the agenda is the committee reports. Park and Rec, Chairman, Mr. Dave Rice.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Ready for snow? Maybe a foot? No? That was a joke. All right. Yes, we did. We had our annual reorg meeting on the 13th, last Thursday. I'm going to remain on as the chairman. Bob Strobel is going to come on as the vice chair, and Maggie is going to step on as the secretary. We regretfully accepted Robbie Fisher's resignation. We'd like to, publicly thank him for his 4 years of service to the Park and Rec. He's still going to remain on as our liaison with the Little Free Library, so he can, swap some books out for everybody, since he has a good little mix of books to throw in there and to, exchange. So we're happy about that. And we did also ask to that he, if he's able to help at some of our activities, he also helps. So I also confirmed today with Bonnie Stump, she was our alternate, one of our alternates, that she would, I would like to request that she could become our member. So to fill Robbie's spot. And also Doug Hansen was listed as an alternate, and I'd like to actually ask to have him removed since he has not been in attendance. So that way we could pave the way for adding another alternate to our committee. I do have several items for the spring newsletter that will be finalized by the 21st, Greg. The Fishing Derby, April 23rd. It's going to be a great day again. That is our 11th annual, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to return back from a couple years of hiatus to a farmer's flea craft market on May 21st. Movie in the Park is going to be August 13th. September Fest, as always, is going to be an awesome day, September 25th. And I believe that is our 27th annual, if I'm not mistaken. We could clarify all those before they go out into the newsletter. Something that came up in the Park and Rec meeting was some much needed work that we didn't request at the beginning for our what we're looking to spend for this year. It was the park sign, Greg. So that's something that we're going to look. I know we have monies in the the fund. There's some much needed the railings and the backing of the park sign. So if we could possibly request that we could start working on getting a quote to get that cleaned up so we can have our letters, stay on the park sign. And one last thing would be the display case in the administration building. I think that is all I got. It was a good meeting. We had it was a good meeting. So any questions or comments?
I have either of you supervisors have any questions or comments for Mr. Rice?
I do. David Cullen.
Okay, David,
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
you may.
Thank you. Yeah, we've heard, I'm going to talk about the display case, and we've heard this same request multiple times over the past few months. And I just believe that the township has far more pressing issues with which to deal. We have citizens that can't use their water from their wells. We have citizens with failing septic systems. We have a compressor station being built in our backyard. We have issues with the Holiday House pool. And we have COVID issues. And quite frankly, I'm just tired of hearing about this for the last 7 months. And I just would say, first of all, think about it. You desire a display case in a room for which the public has been prohibited from using for the last 2 years. And as it's been previously noted, the Historical Society fully supports your initiative to move things into a display case. They've just asked, and I think you just need to give it a chance to work, and it's going to work out for everyone involved. That's my comment.
Okay, thank you very much for your comment.
Thank you.
Mr. Hal Shermer, do you have a comment regarding this matter?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to double check on the shed and trees. I know that that was one of the other things that came up at the Park and Rec.
Okay,
Any
the
ideas?
shed and the trees. Dave, you got any?
I
Can
do.
you fill him in on that?
Yep, the shed actually. Bob Strobel and I are going to look once we get closer to some nice weather to look at the shed repairs and to put siding on it, so it's a whole lot. Well, I should say more insulated to the. So basically, cut off the rotten part of the T111 and actually replace it with siding. So that'll be a Bob Strobel and myself are looking to complete that springtime, or we get a nice day that I can take off work and we'll just do that. If we have a nice day, hey, I'm game for that. And the trees, I'm going to talk to Greg about that. Actually, I was going to send him an email to follow up. So when we can get a kind of a good schedule for whether spring is better or fall. So that's why I want to talk to Greg about that, because we do have those items listed in that section 6 and section 9 of the tree plan. And I believe they were red maple and cherry trees that we had in those two spots. So I want to speak to Greg about that as well.
Okay. Does that satisfy you, Hal?
Yep, nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Now, I do want to give my a comment just briefly on that display case too. I know we have a lot of things going on in the township, and we probably will for the foreseeable future. However, that display case, the Park and Rec Committee has been asking to have back, has been asked and been in the process for more than the time that we've had the COVID situation. It has been for probably 5 years that we have tried to get the Park and Rec has tried to get that cabinet back, and therefore I don't think it's just an issue of the times we're in right now. I think it's something that was in the works, and part of the sales pitch to get the house across the street was to move all that stuff over there, and people can go back and look at that in the history of the township and see that was part of the intent when that display or the house was given to the Historical Society. And that, I just think it would be appropriate for the Park and Rec to be able to obtain that. They're not asking for both of them, they're asking for one. And I think that, we should definitely think about that and make that happen. That being said, that's the comment I'm going to have on that right now. I do see that there is display cabinet quote that is under old business. So if we want to discuss that further then we can do that. All right. Moving forward to the, Dave, are you calling? No. Okay. All right.
I do need three motions after the Park and Rec, or for the Park and Rec report. I need a motion to appoint Bonnie Stump. Then I would need a motion to remove Doug Hansen if the board so chooses. And then I would need a motion to advertise for the alternate member.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chairman. Can we wait on the motion to remove anyone? I did not know that this was going to come up at the night's meeting, and I'd like to review the ordinance to make sure there isn't a process for removal that we're missing.
Hold on. All right. They're muted.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you.
Yes. So I will ask for a motion to accept Bonnie Stump as the new full-time member, and I will also ask for a motion to accept Robbie Fisher's resignation.
I'll move that we accept Robbie Fisher's resignation.
And accept Bonnie Stump?
And accept Bonnie Stump.
All right, we have a motion made for each of them in a second. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Right?
Very good. We will table the removal one. Also, I would like to, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the Park and Rec report as presented.
Oh,
Do I have a motion?
I'll move
Okay, we have a motion made by Hal. Second?
Second, David Collingwood.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Collingwood. Seconds been made. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
No.
All right,
And
moving forward to the commission reports. The police report is first. Chief Dickinson, welcome.
Good evening. I have December's chief report for you. In the month of December of 2021, we responded to 323 calls in East Rock Hill Township and 409 calls in West Rock Hill Township. We responded to 24 traffic crashes. 8 of those crashes were in East Rock Hill and 16 of them were in West Rock Hill. 9 of them were reportable crashes and the remaining 20 were non-reportable crashes. Criminal activity for the month of December. We had 31 total crimes reported. 27 of them were part 2 crimes, which are your more minor crimes, and your part 1 crimes. 4 of them were reported, and they're your more serious crimes, such as homicide, sexual assault, robbery, and things of that nature. East Rock Hill reported crimes. We had 1 theft report, 1 criminal mischief to a vehicle, 2 narcotics complaints, a harassment complaint, a trespassing complaint, and our local ordinance violations for East Rock Hill Township was 5 dog law violations, a soliciting complaint, a burning complaint, and a dumping complaint. For West Rock Hill, the reported crimes was an assault, a theft report, a bomb threat, which was at one of the schools, which was unfounded. We had a fraud report, 2 of them actually, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, criminal mischief report, 2 harassment reports, 1 trespass report, and 1 ordinance. And our ordinances were 5 dog law violations and 1 loitering complaint. Criminal charges filed for December 2021 was 1 criminal mischief, 1 criminal trespass, 1 simple assault, 4 charges of DUI, 3 counts of harassment, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 hit and run leaving the scene of a crash, 3 charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 drug charges, and we had 1 dog violation citation issued. Our other activities for December of 2021, we conducted 176 traffic enforcement details, issued 21 citations, 34 traffic warnings, 27 school checks, 108 park checks, and conducted 14 foot patrols. For the total calls for service, for the year 2021, we had 997 calls. That was an increase from 2020, where we had 5,333 calls. Our yearly total accidents for 2021 were 277, and in 2020, we had 243 motor vehicle crashes. Yearly offenses for 2021, 411, and then in 2020, we had 392, so also a little bit of an increase. And then as far as charges filed, 2021, we filed 144 criminal charges, which was a decrease from 2020, where we filed 219 criminal charges. And that would be your December's chief report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Are there any questions for the chief from my 2 fellow supervisors?
I have none.
I have none.
I'll make a motion to
see?
approve the police report.
Thank you very much. We have a motion made
I'll second.
and a second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Chief's report is accepted. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Next
Thanks,
on
sir.
the, yep, you're welcome. Next on the committee report is Joint Rec Authority report. Mrs. Jan Dietz. How are you, Jan?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Good. The report for the Joint Rec Authority is we had reorganization. I have been elected as the chairperson, and also Craig Stevens is the co-chairperson representing Sellersville. During the meeting, which was quite at length, we had a very large discussion about the budget, where we stand for the year 2022. And I know that probably each one of you got over inundated with all my little packet information. I'm not quite sure if you've had time to review it, but we are at a standstill right now as to how we're going to proceed for the year of 2022. There's statistics in there that show for 2019, 2021, the percentages for the township as well as the borough for applicants to the pool, and as well as what the percentage was and for Quakertown, the Quakertown residents, residents that used the Quakertown pool that came, and we were in the red at the end of 2021. So at this point, we are asking that both the township and the borough sit down and with us and discuss the future of the Holiday House pool and where we go at this point.
Okay. Well, there is some growing concern, and there has been, and it has been a challenge for the past several years. We all know that. There is some concern, and I had a few notes put together. There is what's the long-term plan, 3 to 5 years, and even out to 10 years of the pool, because what we have seen and experienced is an increase in amount of money that's needed every year, and it doesn't seem that the pool can sustain itself. The intent from the township and the Sellersville Borough was always never to run the pool on a daily basis with the money that's contributed. It was supposed to be used for capital improvements. I've tried hard to help and to promote trying to get the pool funded, through corporate sponsors and stuff. But there is a couple other things that have come into play here too that we've noticed is the amount of people that use the pool, how many season ticket holders we have, as well as the other pools in the area. I know Quakertown was closed last year, so we got business from them, but they're going to be open this year.
Correct.
How do we know? Is there any way to know? And this is something, Jan, that I'm asking because I believe that the committee, the Joint Rec Authority, which is its own governing body, should try to put a plan together on what they would like to see, what their goals are, to continue to put money into the pool. If it can't sustain itself, that's a burden too on the both municipalities, which we both know, not that we don't want the pool to succeed. So I do believe that there should be a meeting, but I also believe before we had that meeting that we should put together a plan. And when I say we, I do mean the Joint Rec Authority. What's the plan going to be? I know that Quakertown was closed last year, and Percy, actually Menlo, as you know, they had to close because they didn't have enough staff to man it last year for a period of time. I think one of the things that we should have on that list when you put that list together is before we spend any money on the pool, do we have enough staff to man that pool this year if you do open?
No, we don't.
That's one of the concerns I do have. It would be very difficult to put money aside or fund the pool with, let's just say, whatever you're asking there. You were asking, I think you said 20,000. If you put this money in and then you don't have enough people to man the pool and you can't open the pool, then you got another issue.
Correct. And that's where we stand.
Yeah. Is there any way to find out whether, what your
I've made calls today. Today I actually called Nakamixon to see if they're even thinking of reopening, because last year they were closed. So I'm waiting for him to call me back. I left a message in Percy also. And the problem is the lifeguards, the money that they make, which is like $8.75 an hour right now, they can get part-time jobs somewhere else making $10, $12, $14 an hour with the way the economy is. But I don't want to take something from the community. If we cannot sustain the pool and open it, I want to be able to give back to the community through the Joint Rec Authority for something. whether we upgrade the playgrounds. I'm looking into grants right now, different type of grants that are out there that we can apply for, that we're eligible for. I do have information put together on that. I've really been scrambling the last 2 weeks trying to get that together, and Mr. Shermer has been very helpful in helping me with that also. And so I can get that packet together for you. At our February meeting, we'll make the plan. I will make sure that it gets forwarded to all of you supervisors, as well as I will have Eileen Bradley forward it to the borough people also. And at that point in time, we can sit down and the two municipalities can sit down and talk and decide where we're going to go.
Okay. I also know that there was some discussion before about the safety of some trees that were hanging over the fence, some dead ash trees.
We have 2 trees there are trees that need to be removed up there. The 2 trees that we're concerned about are 2 trees that are marked as when you pull in the parking lot, they border the property where the house is. If they should fall, they're going to go towards the house. Mm-hmm. So I feel that those are 2 things that we need to have removed just to cover us. Yeah. For insurance reasons. And that comes to like $2,800 taken down and removed for those 2 trees. They're quite big. They're tall. They're oak trees.
The other.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask you, have you had any conversation with Souderton or Menlo to see if they were going to open this year? I know that there's been some scare of the surge in the variant here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, you may want to think about, whether we really should open or not, considering what what you have to go through for sure. But I do think if you're going to ask for money, I do think that you should have at least an indication or an idea that you're going to have lifeguards to man it, because if you don't, then of course we all know what happens.
Well, I don't know if you got the last, I wasn't quite on time with sending this one. There is a proposed budget, but it also for 2022, one is to open the pool and the other one is to not open the pool. And we took the budget down to only what we needed to suffice to get through the season, so we can move forward with grants and do things and updates, and we're trying to get fundraisers together and things of that nature. So that's what I mean when we've been scrambling. We've been trying to really, really head this off and try to go in a positive direction with it.
Okay. Well, I do thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hal, you want to add anything or
Yep. Just that. Well, I'm one of the West Rock Hill liaisons to the Joint Rec Authority, so that's why it's something that I'm quite interested in. We've been doing the September Fest, and one of the things is you have sunk costs. I have been looking over. We're hoping to find some ways to save a little bit of money. See if it might be possible to find out who is West Rock Hill Elementary using to cut their grass, because our expenditures for cutting the park grass seems to be a little bit cheaper than these guys. So you're looking for as many hands make light work. And I know that we've had a pretty good record of having businesses come out to support Septemberfest. And as I said, what Jay's been saying, there are a lot of businesses that are in tight, are having a tight time, but we also still have, a structural sunk cost that has to be maintained, and it's going to cost more to fix it after a year of not being up and running. Then part of that is finding more ways of bringing people in and trying to figure out what is your best return on investment and how do you try to maximize that. Is it daily admissions? Is it season ticket sales? Is it possible to find other ways of bringing income in? And I think I have enough people who are thinking about this and paying attention to it, and who now know that, we kind of need to start working on this. So I think part of that is also letting everybody know, because we have 35, 36 people on the meeting now, to let everybody know, yes, we need good ideas.
We do. Mr. Collingwood, do you have any comment or not?
Yeah, I do. First of all, Jan, thank you. for coming before us this evening. I did see I guess the original proposed budget. I was sort of surprised to see money in that from West Rock Hill when we really hadn't discussed it here. But you said since then you've put a second budget together, and I appreciate that. I think it's fully on the Joint Rec Authority to work to figure this out, but to do it with the support not only of the borough of Sellersville, but with the support of the West Rock Hill Township Supervisors. And one of my questions was going to be, if the pool is going to close, what would that dollar amount be? You say you've already worked on a preliminary budget for that, so it'll be good to see that. Another question I would have is, do you have a date, which is the final date for which you are going to need whatever amount of money, whether the pool opens or not, so that we can have a feel for what that funding would be and when it will be needed?
Okay.
But again, I think sitting down with the supervisors, with the borough, is a good idea after you have some sort of plan or plans formulated that you can present. And again, thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for the time and listening.
Mary, I'd like to ask you a question. Is there any issue with legal as far as if the manager or somebody represented from the township would meet with somebody from Sellersville? Any legal issue to worry about? You're muted.
Mary, you're muted.
Can't hear you, Mary.
Mary, you're muted.
And I gave such great legal advice and nobody got here.
Fall on deaf ears.
So as long as you don't have a majority of either the Board of Supervisors of West Rock Hill, Council, Sellersville Borough Council, or the Joint Rec Authority, you're fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we will wait to hear, or have Jan will put a plan together.
Mhm.
And then you will come back to us next month and you will present your plan, right?
Yes.
Or
Yes, I
you will
will.
reach out, you will, after you have that plan, then we will get some kind of a meeting scheduled with Greg, through Greg, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, anything else, Jan?
No, that's it.
Okay, I would like to entertain a motion for approval of the Joint Rec Authority report as presented. I'll make that motion. I need a second.
I was
Okay, I have a second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. All right, moving forward, next on the agenda is the tax collector's report. Suzanne Clark.
Okay, well, I did file my liens at the beginning of January. My total liens that I did file for West Rock Hill Township was $5,914.55. A little bit better than last year, which is good, a little bit less liens. And that's all I really have to report. I'm just getting ready to start up for the next 2022 county and township tax bills that'll be mailed for March the 1st. In the works, getting those printed as we speak. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Suzanne?
I have none.
Seeing none?
One question, which is,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, just one quick question: what do we think the postal service is going to be like getting bills out this year? Because
I hope it's better than it was last year. You know, I can't tell folks enough. If you don't get a tax bill from me March 1st and July 1st, you give me a call and I'll make sure I get a copy to you. But as a real estate owner, you should know when your taxes are due and payable.
That is true. Thank you, Suzanne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a motion made. Second?
Second.
Okay. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Tax collector's report is accepted. Moving forward, the engineer's report is next on the agenda.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you can see by the agenda, I have nothing under my report specifically, but I will take this opportunity to say we have advertised for the salt building and the storm culvert project, and those bids are due, I believe, the second week of February. So we should have those bid results for your February meeting.
Okay, great.
That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
No questions.
No questions. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the engineer's report.
So moved, David Collingwood.
And
Motion's been
second,
made. Second, Hal. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, the next on the agenda is the solicitor report. Mary.
I have nothing to report this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. That's quick. All right, so we don't have to approve it since there's nothing to report.
That's correct.
Moving forward, the township manager report, Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 items tonight. The first item is you have an application for the James Memorial Park rental for Sunday, June 5th, 2022 from the West Rock Hill Historical Society. They'll be putting on an event, the annual Heritage House Festival at James Memorial Park will be held Sunday, June 5th from 12 to 5 p.m. The festival will be fun as well as educational. The society has invited numerous local artisans, custom woodworkers, glassmakers, crafters, and assortment of other vendors. There will be educational vendors such as the Civil War encampment, Civil War medicine, metal detecting, and others. There'll be 3 to 4 food trucks and varied kinds of different varied kinds. The Heritage House may be open for limited tours.
Very nice. Okay. That's June the 5th, 2022, and you looked in and saw there's nothing scheduled on that day, right?
Yeah, there's nothing scheduled on that day. We have reserved it.
Okay, very good.
I have one other item that is not on the agenda. I would like the board to declare a snow emergency for tomorrow, just for the impending storm. All I would need is a motion from the board to declare a snow emergency.
I will
I'll
make
make-
that motion, David
Okay.
Collingwood.
Mr. Collingwood made the motion. I will second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. You got it.
Thank you. That's all I have for my report.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I'll ask for a motion for approval of the manager's report as presented.
So moved, David Collingwood.
And
Okay,
seconded,
we have a motion made and second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
All right, next on the agenda is the old business. That was the display cabinet quote that we had tabled last month because it wasn't complete. And I did thank Mr. Miller for doing that. That was very kind of him. Greg, you have.
We now have a complete quote. It was $2,500 for the wood and $600 for the glass. So it would be $3,100. So now you have a complete quote.
Okay. Now I know that if anyone was not present last month, I was opposed to this because I felt that the Historical Society wanted to take their stuff across the street. There was a change in the view, and they wanted to have this display cabinet in the vestibule of the township building. And I was opposed to that. Mr. Miller was in favor of it with Mr. Collingwood there, but however, it was an incomplete quote, so Mr. Miller withdrew and they did not act on it. So we tabled it. So now we are at the point where there is a complete quote, and the total will be $3,100, correct, Mr. Chairman or Mr. Manager?
Yes, it's $3,100 complete.
Okay, so Mr. Shermer, Hal, you have any input on this, or you have any thoughts regarding this display cabinet that is wished to be purchased and built?
Yep. Well, I did want to go through. I actually did stop at the township building to take a look at the layout of the vestibule this yesterday or in the afternoon. So where are we physically going to be putting this? In one of the side vestibules by the other side of the door?
I don't know. This was just stated to me that there was a request. Mr. Collingwood might be able to fill us in on that, but it was their request to put a display case in the vestibule.
Mhm.
Mr. Collingwood, do you have any input or thoughts of where it was displayed? Wanted to be displayed?
The physical dimensions of a proposed cabinet would actually afford that it could be placed in one of 2 locations. It could be placed in front of the window to the outside of the building, to the left of the door of the tax collector's office, or it could be placed on the wall, which is actually the outside wall of the tax collector's office, where there's currently a desk and a chair if someone comes in to visit and look at records. And both places would be appropriate, and both places would physically accept the dimensions of the cabinet that Mr. Durstein presented.
Okay. Any further thought, Hal?
Yeah, so what occurs to me is that while I understand that we want to be able to display these, there's also a question of whether that's going to then block off some of the light that comes into the township building itself. What occurs to me when I looked at the two vestibules is, reminds me of some of the display cases. I used to do some work down in Ryer's Museum, volunteer there a little bit, but it occurs to me that perhaps getting some glass shelves on the two vestibules. When you walk into the township building, you walk into the first door, then there's a little space that you walk in through the second door. We have the two vestibules on either side. One of them currently has a sign-up desk, but perhaps it might be more effective to see if we can simply get some glass shelves put in, so that way you can see from the outside into the stuff that's on display, and see it from the interior as well, and not block off the light coming in through the windows. I'm not sure if that's a real option at this point, but I do know that we have a lot of claims on time and a lot of time spent worrying about display cases. I did also notice that when you walk into the Heritage House, the James House, that property was redone with the Victorian style floor to ceiling windows. So that also has a lot of good space to display things that can be in a window and can be there. There is a benefit for the township building. The township building faces north. You generally don't want to have anything that is old and valuable being displayed in direct sunlight. It fades pretty quickly, depending on the material and the age. So that's my 2 cents at this point.
Okay.
I'd like to respond to that, if I may.
You may, Mr. Collingwood. You have the floor.
Thank you. The artifacts, first of all, are light sensitive, especially to sunlight, and they should be displayed in the ideal situation in the primary location considered was the one not in front of the window, but the wall where the desk is, which would be on the left side as you entered the township building, against the wall where the tax collector's office is. That would keep the artifacts out of direct sunlight. Secondly, open glass shelves is not a good idea for the security of these items. As I said in the past, these artifacts belong to the citizens of West Rock Hill Township, and they should be displayed in a public building. The Historical Society is merely the stewards of these public treasures. And I think that we as supervisors should embrace the opportunity that's before us. And I think we have a moral obligation to the citizens of this township to do such. So I'm totally in favor of purchasing the glass cabinets at the price that was quoted, not for the Historical Society, but for the township residents. They deserve this. This is their public treasures, and they've given these artifacts to the township to protect, and they should be displayed. My opinion.
Thank you for your opinion, Mr. Collingwood.
Thank
And
you.
I know that you and I have differed on this, over the years. But I will say, and I will reiterate, the
Yep.
sales pitch to me as a supervisor, as well as the other supervisors from the Historical Society, including you, was to move that stuff across the street, have a place of your own to call home. That's why the house was given to the Historical Society, and the intent always was to move that stuff over there. We've been discussing this thing for I don't know how many years now. You'd have to go back and look at the minutes. But I really do think that that the citizens should not have to pay for something in this matter to be displayed in the township building when the intent was for it to be across the street. And here's where we're at. You and I both differ on this. And I respect it. I respect your wish and what you want to do, but I don't think that the taxpayer should have to fund this project. And I do believe truly that you should have things displayed over there where the Historical Society is called home. If Hal's not willing to move anyway, we're kind of at a deadlock. I don't know what to say as far as, how do we move forward or not? Do we table it? Do we reconsider? Do we look at things again to see what would work out?
Oh,
I have one final comment, and I want to make it my final comment. I have as much right to accept and to support public funding for this display case as you have to accept taxpayer funding for your health insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Collingwood. Hal?
well, I think essentially I'm simply going to ask to break the tie by asking to table this simply because I want to take a look at what the plans for the case actually are. I know we've had the description of it, but I'd actually like to see it before we spend money on it. I know that that's not the decision that everybody wants, but before I authorize it, I would actually get to see some blueprints or plans for it. So I would make a motion to table this so that we can get the plans and look over the plans to see what it is that we're going to be putting in, or at least so that I can.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. We've tabled this thing and discussed this for quite some time. So I don't think it's an issue. We won't act on it. We'll table it. We won't make any decision one way or another. So it's still alive, and we will discuss it again next month.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. I have one comment, Mr. Schreiber. I would like to meet you and be with you when you look at the plans, and I'd like to meet you at the township and go over the location in the township building.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Jay, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Chris. Can I chime in?
You can, Chris. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I would like to be part of that meeting at the township building as well, just to make sure that what I have designed is feasible for the space that it is proposed to go into.
I would encourage you to do that. I think you should be there.
Yeah, no, I
Very good.
appreciate it.
Yep.
And the quote that I received for the glass work that was in question from the last meeting, that was a ballpark figure. And that was for the product I'm offering to install the glass on top of the production of the cabinetry. If the price of the glass products is less than what they had given me a ballpark number on, I will reduce that from the cost of the product.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
All right. So
But yeah, let me if you don't mind, just let me know when you guys are going to get together, and I'll try to. Well, let's coordinate so I can meet up with you guys.
Mr. Collingwood and Mr. Shermer. Yes, Mary.
And just a reminder from the manager, actually, not even from me, but the reminder from the manager that when the two supervisors get together, you can't really discuss anything without violating the Sunshine Act. So you're both looking at the same space. So you're seeing the same thing. And Chris, you're going to have to do all the talking.
Right.
Yep.
I can do that.
I was going to say,
I'm well versed in talking.
no problem.
Yes, I would suggest that we then, do a fact-finding meeting, not a decision meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Any deliberation of agency business that would lead to a decision is what's the definition of in the prohibitive activities in the Sunshine Act. So
No, we won't be deliberating. It's going to be looking and measuring.
I would encourage you maybe to think about Chris meeting with each one of you individually. That's my recommendation.
That works.
Okay.
Just to save that issue. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. moving forward then from the old business, does anybody have any other old business that's on the agenda or on your thoughts? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for any new business.
I just have one item, David Collingwood. I usually get phone calls when people lose their mailboxes or snow removal doesn't go as planned. I actually got a couple of phone calls from residents who were very pleased with the efforts the township made. Even though our first snowfall wasn't that significant, there was ice involved in rain and snow, and they were very pleased. So I just like the manager, Mr. Lippincott, to pass that on to your crew.
Very good. I shared the same situation. I got a call actually from a business owner on Saturday because it had froze over down there at our Meeting House Road, and I notified Greg, and Greg got the guys down there and took care of it. And I actually got a text back from the business owner thanking us for acting on that. So I did share my comments with Greg as well as how well job was done by our public works. So thanks. Any other new business?
I have none.
Okay.
I guess I do have one thing to just briefly mention that you might notice now that I'm not sure if Mr. Miller is going to talk about this, but looks like Penridge is now actually giving tours of the solar panels. A couple times I've seen the school bus outside with the science students outside looking at the solar panels. So looks like we're getting some interest.
Yeah.
May I speak? This is Jim Miller. It was in response to what Hal just said.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Thank
Jim.
you, Mr. Shermer. Yes, I've been giving those tours. We had 3 tours this week so far, and it was 60 students total. They're actually looking at the solar panels. They're also interested in how it all works. We talked about how the electric is generated, how it's stored, how it's distributed. Then they also went over to look at the UV charging station, and we had a long discussion over there about what's going on over there. These students were all from the environmental sciences department, and the instructor went back to the school today to talk to people from the physics department to see if they would be interested. I also have some other tours lined up with some other schools, which I'll tell you about when we get closer to them. But thank you.
Well done.
Okay, moving forward, next on the agenda is public comment. If you have public comment, please state your name and address. Mr. Lippincott?
The first one is Tony Bogner. He emailed me. So, Tony.
Okay. You have the floor, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I have just 2 comments. I know that I only...
Tony, before you start, can you please give me your address?
Yes, 2920 Clymer Avenue.
Thank you, sir.
I know I come up as Shannon. That's my beautiful wife. But
Wonderful.
anyways, I have two comments. First of all, in regards to the pool, the Holiday House pool, is that although I'm not a swimmer, I wasn't a long time ago when I was a kid, but I do like the pool, and I wish that the pool somehow could operate as a business. I mean, I know they are, but I wouldn't want to see the pool go. And I hope that somehow or another, I know that I personally have donated time over to that pool. And I hope that it can continue to run. And the other comment that I want to make is that I have to tell you, I'm appalled by David's comments about, bringing up about Jay Kaiser and his health benefits. I mean, is this going to go on till Jay seats up? This is crazy. Has nothing to do with the cabinet at the township building, and I truly think that is wrong, absolutely wrong, to go after Jay on that. It has nothing to do with that. And when I come to these meetings, it's all about the public. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. It's the good of the people. And to whack him on the knees like that, I think is wrong. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Lippincott, you have anybody else who's up next?
I have Regina Schremeyer up next.
Okay, Mrs. Schramer, you have the floor.
Thank you. Regina Schremeyer, Sterners Road. Unfortunately, Mr. Bogner, I am going to hit him across the knees again, because we're sitting here talking about the increase in the price of things to get the pool done for the people of the township. Well, is this a big surprise that there's inflation and it's affecting the pool just like it's affecting everything else? We don't talk about the $40,000 of health insurance that Jay Kaiser receives, or the fact that it goes up every year. And the reason that he's going to be hit across the knees with it all the time is because nobody in the contiguous townships around us gets anything more than about $5,000. And we have the most outrageous insurance in the state. And that's why. But we shouldn't be talking about that. The prices on the swimming pool going up shouldn't matter when you divide it by all the people that get to use it and have the potential to use it, compared to one person and his wife getting $40,000 a year. It is a problem. It's a problem for all of us. Thank you.
It's a separate issue. If I can make a comment, I'm sorry.
It's money, and money is the common issue.
Mr. Lippincott.
Don Krauthamel is next.
Don?
Yes, thank you. My name's Don Krauthamel. I live at 135 Green Street in Sellersville, and I'm a member of Sellersville Borough Council. I'm here to talk briefly about the Holiday House pool issue. And I want to say that, first off, I appreciate the time that you've given to it tonight. I do look forward to an opportunity to meet with your representative and representatives from the joint authority. Just briefly, our concern in Sellersville, I think, is similar to yours. We do want to see that the pool operated as a self-sustaining authority, and I think that for the most part it has done that. The amount of money that each municipality has contributed over the past few years has been relatively small. What I'm concerned about right now, and I think I speak for most of council, is that we would hate to see the investment that we have in that facility, the buildings, the pools themselves, the ground, a pool that has had a long history in Penn Ridge. For those of you who have been here long enough, at one time, Holiday House was the preeminent pool in the area. Obviously, over the past few years, since Menlo has done their improvements, our membership has dropped. And the last 2 years have been particularly hard on it for obvious reasons. So I think what we are proposing at Sellersville is that several things need to happen over, let's say, the next year. One, I think a feasibility study needs to be conducted to determine exactly, what the potential membership at the pool is, assuming that, some improvements are made. And secondly, if it's found that all things being equal, there is a membership out there is enough interest in the community to support the pool, we need to find a business model that will provide that self-sustaining capability that we're talking about.
2.5 minutes are up.
Thanks for your time. We would hope that you folks would commit to helping us through the next year.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't see anyone else.
Okay. Seeing no one else, I will close public comment and I will ask for adjournment into executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved, David Collingwood.
Okay, motion's been made,
Seconded.
seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you all for joining in tonight and your input. Very well appreciated.
Yes, thank you everybody for coming out.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Have a good night. I will send a link.